immediately as I start filming, Milo proceeds to bark. Hi there, book friends. I'm Addie and you are watching Books and Tea Time. And in this video we are doing a tea tag because it's on brand and we were tagged to do it. I was tagged by Margaret of Margaret Pinnard. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I hope I am. Thank you so much for tagging me and for thinking of me as like a tea booktuber and a tea lover to do this tag, because it is like a books meets tea tag, so it's perfect for me and it's just a really fun tag. I'm excited to do it. I've got all the questions here on my laptop and my answers to them, but like each question has two parts and one of them pertains to books and the other one connects to like tea in some way, and they're like themed to go together. You'll see. But yeah, so we're here to do the tea tag. I am drinking some Earl Grey right now, extra bold, in my narwhal mug that I got for Christmas last year. Actually, I love this mug so much. It's really cute and funny, the little eyeballs. Guess let's just jump right in, shall we? Question number 1 is choosing your tea, and part 1 to the question is what genres do you tend to lean towards, and part 2 is and what kind of teas do you tend to drink. So as far as genres, I definitely read the most fantasy and romance. Romance is a very new thing, as many of you who've probably been watching my channel recently have noticed. I am definitely reading a lot more romance than I ever had in my life. I started reading adult romance stories last year and I really love it, and I'm glad that I started. But fantasy is like my go-to, my pride and joy. I love fantasy of all types, no matter what. If it's fantastical in any way, I am there. And then also classics, specifically British and Irish classics is a lot of what I read in undergrad, but just classics in general. Anything written in the 18th and 19th century. And as far as tea, I will pretty much drink any kind of tea or try any kind of tea that is not chai or chamomile. I can't get on board with either of those. I don't know why. It's just the flavoring. I've never been able to enjoy either of those. But I love black teas, herbal tea, green tea, anything with lavender in it. Specifically, I brought 2 tea bags up here to show you. These are my 2 current absolute favorite go-tos. I go through these so fast. The first one is honey lavender stress relief from Yogi. It's just like a nice caffeine-free, light and relaxing tea. It tastes really good. You don't need to put anything in it. I love it so much. And yeah, that's from the brand Yogi. And then my other obsession, and this, I thought this was so funny because Margaret was drinking this tea in her tag video, and that is Breakfast in Paris from Stash. I'm addicted to this tea. It is everything that I want out of tea, out of any flavor. It has bergamot, lavender, and vanilla extract, and it's a black tea, like a breakfast tea, so it has some caffeine. So this is usually my go-to when I'm like drinking tea during the day or in the morning when I need something that has some caffeine, some kick to it. I love Earl Grey. I love breakfast tea, Irish, English, green teas, especially like fruity green teas. I have this strawberry green tea that I really like. Question number 2 is hot water. What book made you feel gripped by the main character's plight, and do you prefer hot or iced tea? Well, let's start with the tea question this time. I definitely prefer hot tea when I'm thinking of like just the experience of tea, but I drink unsweetened black tea as well, iced. As far as a book that made me feel gripped by the main character's plight, for this one I am going to say The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This is the first book in the Burning series. I immediately loved how Evan Winter wrote his main character Tao in this book, because I really appreciate any author who is willing to just like challenge the chosen one trope, because I find the chosen one trope really like convenient and overused, and I just can't really get on board with it. But I love characters like Tao in The Rage of Dragons who are like determined to seek greatness for whatever reason. In Tao's specific situation, he is hell-bent on revenge, and so he trains and sacrifices and struggles and pushes himself so hard and puts himself in harm's way to attain this power to enact revenge and to become this incredible swordsman. And you see him going through that step by step, and the pain and the struggle, and it's not quick and it's not easy by any means, and you're with him the whole time. So I was very gripped by his character and his story, and I can't wait to read book 2, Fires of Vengeance. I have it. I have both of them behind me. I don't know if you can see them, but I have both of them, and I do want to read book 2 this year, and maybe reread book 1. I don't know. I didn't annotate it the first time around, and I'm kind of kicking myself because now I kind of wish that I had, so maybe I'll reread it and annotate both of them. I don't know, but yeah, I really loved that book and that story, and how, as a main character, and what Evan Winter does with his character, I was very impressed. Question number 3 is brew time. What book improved over the reading experience or improved while you were rereading it? And how much milk do you add? Well, this is easy. I don't add milk. No milk at all. And not just because I'm lactose intolerant, but just because, like, no. It doesn't need it. It's perfectly fine without it. I am of the opinion, and this kind of branches into the next question, but I like my tea strong and without anything in it. I don't put sugar in my tea. I don't put milk in my tea. I will put a honey stick in a very select few kinds of tea. Like sometimes I'll add a honey stick to the honey lavender one because it already has the honey flavor in there, and I have some honey sticks that Alexander gifted me, so I'll like put them in my tea every once in a while. But I don't like anything, no milk, no sugar, no creamers of any kind, no. And I don't take the tea bag out. Like, I don't ever like say, oh, that's done steeping. I drink it until it's gone and then take the tea bag out and throw it away, because I like really strong tea. So like I want every sip to be stronger than the last. My grandma and I are like the exact opposite in this regard. My grandma will literally take a cup of hot water, dunk the tea bag in once and be like, yep, it's good. That's enough. And then she'll proceed to dump like sugar and milk in it. I'm like, Grandma, you're not even drinking tea. It's like the essence of tea. It's not even real tea. So we always make fun of each other and our own tea drinking habits. Okay, I'm gonna give 2 books for this answer. So as far as a book that improved over rereading, like reading multiple times, I would say Pride and Prejudice. The first time I read Pride and Prejudice, it was by myself in 12th grade, and like I was not really into it. But then I reread it for a class in college, and the discussion of it and annotating it and really sitting with it and diving into Austen and her critique of society and her witty writing and the story, I loved it, and it's now one of my favorite books of all time. So I would say that one improved over rereading. And then as far as a book that improved over time while reading just that one book, I would say The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I love this series. The Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden is so good, and The Bear and the Nightingale is the first book. It's one of the best, most amazing stories I've ever read. It is a historical fantasy kind of story that takes place in Russia, and I think like the 12th century or something, and it's such a beautiful story. But I will say it's slow. The beginning is very, very slow because our main character is like kind of a coming of age, and we follow our main character Vasya, and she is essentially connecting with the natural fairy tale folklore creatures of the Russian landscape and of like the forest, and fighting against the incoming power of the church in her village and protecting these creatures from being wiped out by religious zealots in her community. It's also about a lot more than that, but just for the most part, that's kind of the basis of the story. But it's very slow. Like when we first start the book, I'm pretty sure Vasya is just being born and she's our main character. So I would say the first 50% of this book is a lot of like exposition, and it's very slow going, but it really picks up. And then book 2 and 3 are just perfection. They are so good. So don't be turned off if you start this book in this series, because I do think it definitely gets better over time. You know, it gets better with every page, just like my tea gets better with every sip. Okay, number 4 is milk and sugar. What's your favorite actual or accidental bookmarks, and do you like 1 lump or 2 lumps of sugar? Well, I already answered the sugar question. No sugar. It's not necessary. Not my thing. I'm gonna grab my bookmarks. I forgot to get them. I have a couple bookmarks to show off. First is this bookmark I just recently got. My friends got it for me for my birthday. It says she believed she could, but she was really tired, so she didn't. And I just love bookmarks that have these little fancy tassely things on it, and I thought it was really sweet and funny that they got this for me. So I got this one, and then another one that has a tassely thing is a book with a John Steinbeck quote on it. It says, "And now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good." It's a quote from East of Eden, one of my favorite books of all time, and it has a little butterfly on it. And then I don't know where this one is. I always lose it inside of a book that I'm like reading over an extended period of time. Like I just found it the other day in a book that I DNF'd temporarily, and I already lost it again. But it is a bookmark that I got in San Francisco with my mom. I have a picture on my Bookstagram with it, so I'll insert a picture of it. But it's like kind of like one of those like holographic ones where like if you turn it, it like changes the picture. And I got it in San Francisco when my mom and I went on our first girls trip in 2019 to San Francisco, and it just reminds me of our trip, and I loved San Francisco so much. It's so beautiful there, and we had such an amazing time. So I really like that bookmark because it reminds me of that. And then favorite accidental bookmark. I had no answer to this up until yesterday. I literally found this bookmark in a library book that I took out, and I looked at it and I was like, what the hell? Where did this come from? But it is like, it's called Catula, and it's like a bookmark promo for a book about Dracula's cat. And it's like one of those like hairless, wrinkly cats. I'll insert a picture of it because it's downstairs and I'm not getting up to go get it right now. But it's like this really gross, like naked, hairless looking cat inside a Dracula costume, and it's just so wrinkly, and I was like, where did this come from? Because now it's in my possession. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't know if I should like put it back in the book when I return it, or if I should keep it, or if I should put it in another book and just like keep it going, keep the chain of this horrifying cat going. It reminds me of the scene from Friends when Rachel gets one of those cats because she had one as a child and she really wants it. And Ross takes one look at it and he's like,
why is it inside out?
I tried. They won't take her back.
Maybe that's because she's a minion of the Antichrist.
It cracks me up every time. I love that scene. Oh my god. Question number 5 is the perfect tea set. Do you display your books or keep them secret? And do you have a favorite mug, cup, or teapot? I do display my books, as you guys can see. I wish that I had more shelf space because I want to do more outward facing books. Like I had to take one of them down because these chunky monkeys were just taking up so much space. I wish that I had more space to do face outs because I have so many gorgeous covers in my collection, but I don't have the shelf space. I can't even fit all the books that I own on the shelves that I have. I have a TBR shelf downstairs and I still don't have enough room for all the books that I have up here. Oh, my favorite mugs. Well, I love this narwhal mug, as I said. I have a Jack Skellington mug that I just got that I'm really obsessed with. I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. My dad just got me a mug for Christmas that says, what part of Kiss My Ass don't you understand? But it's in Irish. And then I do have a tea set that I got. It's like a pot and 4 cups. Again, I'll insert an image of that. I really wasn't prepared. I should have brought all this stuff out to show you, but I wasn't thinking. But yeah, I got that several years ago, and I only break it out every once in a while when like multiple people in my house want tea, because typically it's just me and I'll just put hot water in a kettle and put it on the stove. I actually don't love my kettle because it's white and it gets so dirty. so fast. Question number 6 is sip and sigh. Is there a book that makes you feel cozy immediately? And what's your favorite setup for drinking tea? A book that makes me feel cozy immediately. I already kind of mentioned this, but I love Jane Austen's writing. I think it immediately puts me in a really comfy, transported place, and I love to just sit down and really like deep dive and close read and annotate her books. And I also really like Agatha Christie because like you get to sit down and like get absorbed in a mystery. And also I think just in general middle grade makes me feel very comfy and cozy, and I'm hoping to read some more middle grade fantasy this year and kind of get back into middle grade fantasy. I mentioned that I think in my January reading plans video, but yeah, that's something that I want to get back into. As far as my favorite setup for drinking tea, I would say with a book and a blanket and maybe some fireplace sounds in the background. I mean, I'll drink tea anywhere, but like when you're going for the cozy ambiance, for the full experience. Last but not least, question number 7 is another cup, a book you are currently reading or you plan to read next, and how often do you drink tea? I drink tea pretty much every day. A book I'm currently reading Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. And up next, I think I'm gonna pick up Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey, I think. That is the tea tag. I am going to tag Tiana T from Tiana T. Yeah, I'm just gonna tag one person because I'm trying to think of other people who have like tea in their like name, and I can't think of any that I follow off the top of my head. But if you like tea and you're a booktuber, consider yourself tagged, okay? Feel free to do this because I would like to know. I feel like I'm trying to think of other people who also like tea and I can't. So if you like tea, shout yourself out in the comments and let's talk about it. What's your favorite kind? If you made it to the end of this video, comment down below with a teacup emoji. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. It means the world to me. I love you all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam, and I hope to see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Peace out.